£15 that cost me for that compressor, and you know, it's not very good. It's just a bit slow. The last time I pumped the tyre up, I did it by hand, well, by foot, and that was quicker and less disappointing, and my foot pump doesn't have pretend carbon fibre on it. This is really going to annoy some people. Not me, I don't care. This should be allowed to use the road, shouldn't they? Hey? We're approaching the end of the month, and this car has been taxed for 2 months. It's had its MOT for 2 months. It's been in use for 2 months, but it was only supposed to be 1 month, but I forgot to cancel the direct debit for the beginning of this month. And I really should have done, because it's barely had any use. So I was concerned whether the pump would even work because of the battery. But it did, you know. But why? Why is it not getting used? Good question, isn't it? I do go to work every day, so it's not like I have to cart family around in it. In fact, in its 2 months of use, it's not had a single passenger journey. And I know that for definite because I still haven't put the floor mats down to stop the carpets from getting dirty. And because I don't remember taking anyone in it. It's still my joyful little motor though. But the fact is, it just doesn't drive as well as it used to do. Going back nearly 8 years, when I acquired this scabby looking, completely unloved Rover 25, and I was astonished by just how well it drove. That triggered a love of this kind of car for me more than I was expecting. Yeah, other than I sold it and bought it back and sold it again, that's the story. Even so, when I first had this car, it drove like new. When I got it back for the second time, it wasn't quite right. It felt like it might have hit a couple of big potholes or something like that. And I thought it was down to the tyres wearing out. Changed the wheels. It was okay. Wider wheels don't seem to suit it. But it does have a slight play in the track rod end. That's the only thing on the suspension that's come up as any kind of advisory. So, just gonna have to fix it, aren't I? Actually, there were two things, because there was the shock absorber as well that was leaking a bit. But I replaced that. Well, I mean, the garage next door did, because I couldn't get one of the bolts off. I'm going to put my Brave socks on and replace the track rod end. There we go. It's second hand, but it's intact. It's not much of a task. It's taking the wheel off, undoing it at that end, undoing it at the other, and replacing it. 4 minutes. Always a problem. You can't just undo the wheel nut. You see, with these, it's a steel nut, a stainless cap. And look at that. It wobbles. The steel nut gets a bit of rust on it. It swells, it goes out of shape. And then you can't just get a socket onto it, so you have to hammer it on and then hammer it back off again. Swollen nuts, not nice. There's the track rod end, and so obviously that's off a 45, not a 25. Goodness, gosh. Gits. You never know, I might just have a steering rack in here. Well, that's a disappointment. I have got a rack, but the only thing is, the rubber split where I've used a ball joint knocker thing to separate it. And that's fine if you're going to replace it, but, you know, I can't put one with a knackered rubber on it, can I? And anyway, there's another problem I have just noticed, and I'm very, very disappointed by this. You might think, why not just buy a new one? It can't be that expensive. It's not. But there are 3 reasons I don't really want to buy a new one. The first and most important reason is that the idea of this car is it was never, ever going to cost me any money. It might seem like a strange rule, but I bought it cheap, sold it, made a profit. Bought it back cheap, sold it, made a profit. Bought it back cheap. And so this car has always been something that owes me less than nothing. Up until recently, but that's a different matter. And I know that's confusing, but I can't really go into it. However, I've never spent any money on this car. Well, I have. I bought the carpet for £30, but I sold the old carpet for £30. So there we see, didn't actually cost anything. The exceptions are fuel, tax, MOT. That's it. Oh, and a bottom ball joint. And drop links. Now here's the thing. This car has had a knock from the front that I've never been able to get to the bottom of. There's been nothing loose. There's been nothing looking like it's about to break off. But I thought last year, it does sound like drop links, that. So I bought some drop links and I replaced them. And whilst talking to the chap next door about drop links on the Rover 25, he said to me, you shouldn't have bothered, they never go wrong on these. And that's true, because the old drop links were actually perfectly okay. And that brings me to the second point of why I don't like to buy new parts. They're just not as good as the old parts. The drop links on this have managed 115,000 miles without actually any problems. But if we look at the new one, can we see that there? It's broken. It's detached itself from the rubber. So that knocking sound that it has, that sounds like a drop link failure, that shouldn't be a drop link failure because they've only just been replaced and the old ones hadn't even worn out, is a drop link failure problem. Question is, did I keep the old drop links? I mean, why would you keep old drop links? Of course I did. Of course I did. You never know when you may need them. However, on closer inspection, it looks like the new drop link is actually okay after all. It just looked wrong due to the strange angle that they end up finding themselves in when they're fit. Why don't they just have them at an angle where they look like they're not in pain? So at least it went back together again easily enough. Guess what? I have got one, and there it is. That track rod end probably wasn't that good actually, it was a little bit loose, and really it's a lot of faffing around to just put it all back together exactly as it was. I need it to be better. Anyway, so desperate to find something else to do on this car today that I will succeed with. How about the front brakes? Brake pads, more brake pads, more brake pads, all brand new. Second-hand brake pads. I suppose this is another fairly good example of me chucking away the wrong stuff because I had loads of calipers and stuff like that. Need something to happen to combat the disappointment. I only have pads for one side. Just one side. But that's fine because it's the driver's side has been binding a bit. But you don't always notice it, always do it. Sometimes you feel that bit of a grip and the wheel's a bit hot and you know, I'm not worried about it too much. But that's going to explain why one side has gone down but the other side hasn't. So one set of pads is fine. Set that, it looks the same until you get it side by side. And that one has really disintegrated badly. My only option today then is to plagiarise one of the other cars. I'm not going to do that though. Just wish I'd thought on when Boaty's car was here. I left the wheels on, and then I discovered that my own Tourer has the same wheels and that it had better tyres, and it had reasonably good brakes. Very stupid. Sometimes I'm very stupid, I'm very clumsy, I apologise for my... It's not very often I end up feeling disappointed in Nigel ownership. Not very often at all. That's knackered wheel nuts, knackered drop link that turned out to be not knackered. Again, it's another one of those things made worse, exacerbated if you like, by lack of use. Brakes seized on the stuff, and I just need to do something now that makes me feel content. Gosh, look at this here now. I used to keep a couple of cars here, and now it's been given to the trees. Time to do something with this that will cheer me up. So Mr. M, always telling me that these days I just seem to be complaining about stuff. Well, what do you expect? I don't hear this either. Oh, but it's going to be on the road in a couple of days, so it is a good idea that I wax the paint. I really like this Natty's paste wax, and Ronnie Corbett has now been smothered in the stuff. Applied by hand. I mean, on the hands, damp hands, you get a really good coverage. And then I might do it again, just to make sure. Poor little Nigel. I think the time has come for it to go from semi-retirement into almost complete retirement, with just the occasional day out. It could be taxed once or twice a year and then enjoyed. And in the meantime, until I get some sponsorship for this channel, I think it's going to stay indoors. Because now what it needs is, as well as the front brakes, as well as a track rod end, as well as I don't know what that is. Sounded like a silent fart. Solid little tub is starting to show signs of corrosion. Look, not only that, it's starting to peel on the sill. Give that another year or two in use throughout the winter, it'll need some welding, and I don't want that to happen. I want this car to remain a weld-free car, so I think it needs to be kept in the dry from now on and then treated properly, along with all the other stuff underneath that will be susceptible for things going wrong. And as to be suspected, the headlining is starting to peel already because I haven't used the correct kind of glue. I wonder if I put everything back together properly. It seems to be even worse than before now. It's probably time for me to say thank you for watching this video, even though I don't know if it's a video or not, or whether it's one of those things I'm just going to sweep under the carpet and start again the next day, which I have done on many an occasion, because I just think nobody's going to watch that. Well, I mean, they might watch it, but then they'll be disappointed by it and wish they hadn't. No, I should post it then, because it's a reflection on my disappointment. Unless you're really disappointed, how will you know just how disappointed I feel at the moment in having a problem I can't resolve, and then finding a problem that I didn't even know existed in the process and not having any way of fixing it today. Oh, and then finding another problem. You know, it's just... I've had this car long enough to deserve some problems, I guess. It's my own fault for having it. It's my own fault for keeping hold of the thing, isn't it? Thank you. Made this car famous for its quirkiness, and now all I seem to be doing is making it even more famous for being a load of cack. But I'm just telling the truth. there's things on it that really need sorting out, and for its mileage, you know, it's done all right, hasn't it? Surely. Give the thing a pat on the back. Stop insulting it, man. Come on, leave the poor old thing alone. One thing it doesn't do anymore, and I'm not sure when this started, but the steering doesn't centralise. Oh gosh, that's a bit smoky. You know, normally you could drive along and you may have wide tyres will find their ways into the nooks and crannies on the road and the dips and undulations and find potholes so appealing. But what's happened with this one recently is if I do a slight left turn, let go of the wheel, it'll carry on going that way instead of sorting itself out, which is a bit odd, and I don't know how that's happened.